Speaking of older games, are they actually better for you than modern games? Let's discuss. So one of my best mates sent me this and it's really, really interesting. A psychologist explained why 90s kids think differently than Gen Z. The games you played as a kid literally rewired your brain. Here's what changed and why it matters more than anyone realizes. So the one that my mate sent me was actually on a different page, but I found this one which has some verified sources for all this information because I thought someone just typed this up, just to generate some rage bait and get people commenting on it. But supposedly it's a real thing. Whether that's true or not, actually, I don't think matters because the themes and what they propose in these posts, I kind of agree with a lot of it. So let's go through them. The first one says, he said something shocking, so I'm assuming this is the psychologist or doctor or researcher who wrote this. 90s kids didn't just play games, their brains were trained by them. Mario, Sonic, Prince of Persia. 3 lives, no hints, no tutorials. Failure wasn't optional, it was part of the game. What they're trying to say is, you get a set amount of lives and then you die. You die. That's what it is. So it's part of the game where instead of just, continual replays and retries, you were probably back to square one, which was frustrating if you did grow up in the 90s like I did. So we've got here, you learned patience, you learned planning, you learned how to tolerate frustration. You didn't learn how to read though, apparently, which I'm struggling with here. You lose, you restart, you die, you try again, you fail, you figure it out. Those circuits still live in your brain today. I kind of get that. Modern games, auto-save every 10 seconds, step-by-step guidance, endless checkpoints, no failure mode. Kids today aren't forced to build the same mental muscles. The game removes the struggle before they ever feel it. Then he said something even crazier. 90s games strengthened the hippocampus, the part of the brain for memory and navigation. Tetris, Doom, Quake, and Zelda. No maps, no glowing lines, no GPS arrows. You memorized rooms, puzzles, patterns, and shortcuts. Your brain literally bulked up. If that's true, it's really interesting. I do get it though. Back in the day, you had to properly explore. I remember you'd be stuck at certain parts in games for days, until maybe one of your mates showed you how to do it because they'd completed it, or maybe there was a magazine with a guide that came out that month you were lucky enough to pick up. It wasn't just like nowadays. I guess everyone just goes on to YouTube tutorials and just watches how to do it, and then away they go, challenge over. Interesting stuff there. Also, I'm curious who played any of these back in the day. I played Tetris. I had Tetris on my Game Boy. Doom, I had Doom on my PC. I had Doom, and I loved it. And I was thinking Quake. I had Doom, and I had Quake, and I had Quake 3 Arena. I loved Quake 3 Arena. I never played Zelda as a kid. My first Zelda I played was Breath of the Wild. Fantastic game. But yeah, that was my first exposure to Zelda. Today's games do the thinking for you. Arrows show the path. Voice assistants tell you what to do. Quests explain every step. Kids follow instructions instead of creating solutions. They don't navigate, they comply. It's super interesting that, and just take this thing out of it about saying, it's kids do this. We all do this now. We all play modern games. It is different. Like old school games, some of them were brutal, like really brutal. Even if you go back further, some of the game, I just think some of the like side-scrolling shooters I used to play as a kid on my Master System, what was it called? R-Type. My God, it was tough as nails. Another game as well, I remember as a kid just thinking it was absolutely brutal, and you might laugh at this, but Echo the Dolphin. Jesus, Echo the Dolphin. I thought that was so tough as a kid. And the game built into my Master System. The reason I say Master System, that was the first console I ever got. The Sega Mega Drive and Genesis, I was already out at that point. But, money's tight and stuff like that. The older consoles are still for sale. They're like the budget ones. So my family got me the Sega Master System 2. And it had a little kind of closed door to cover the cartridge bay. And that had built into it Alex the Kid in Miracle World or Miracle Land. Alex the Kid in Miracle World. Man, Alex the Kid was no joke as well. It was really, really tough. So 90s games ended. This is interesting. You lost, the game stopped. You won, the game stopped. Your brain learned closure. Today's games never end. Fortnite, Roblox, Genshin, Minecraft, infinite loops, infinite rewards, infinite dopamine. The result, kids don't know how to stop because the game never lets them. I do think there is something in this. I even take this from a different angle. Like, I think games like Fortnite are just destroying like the gaming like industry in general. So much money and time and attention gets hoovered up into this constantly same experience, and it's causing gamers of all ages to miss out on like different bespoke experiences. Like, I could talk about so many different games playing back as a kid because you played a game. It was an unbelievable story, experience, journey, adventure, and then it was done and you're on to the next one and you have another one. Where some kids nowadays will grow up and all they've ever played is like Fortnite or, you know, Roblox or whatever, or Minecraft, and it's just like, it's just the same thing. It's mad. Like, I think back to other generations where they've, you know, played through, you know, even maybe multiple consoles and different games growing up versus nowadays. Some people, it'll just be like Fortnite all the time. It is kind of wild. Each to their own though. I'm not preaching here. Everyone can do what they want to do, but yeah, I do think there's something in this. Next up, a parent told the psychologist, "My son doesn't end the game ends him." Very interesting statement. It sounds a bit fake, that doesn't it? But I get what they're getting at there. 90s kids choose when to stop. Sorry. Told you we can't read. Gen Z is captured by the design. I do get that. And remember this, gaming was social, real social, 100%. This is definitely missed in this day and age. You sat on the same couch, you shared controllers. Who remembers passing the controller back and forth with their friends, having a go? Like, if it was racing, you do this race, I'll do the next race. Like if you were playing through an adventure game, it's like, right, you try now and see how far you get, and if you get stuck or die, pass it to your friend, and then they try and go through the level, and you'd hope, you know, they would die because you'd seen their mistakes, and you'd be like, right, I've got this. You argued, you laughed, you passed levels together. Even like co-op games, think back to like stuff like the N64 or the PS1 and 2 with the multi-tap, playing, you know, split screen games. It was just amazing. Offline connection, real bonding, and real community. Now kids play alone, headsets, screens, avatars, surrounded by thousands, yet connected to no one. Psychologists are seeing higher loneliness in kids who only play online games compared to those who play side by side in person. That's really interesting. I am no medical expert, but I agree how this could be the case. I get this. I understand this. I think this could be real. 90s games taught delayed reward, waiting weeks for a cheat code. Oh yeah. Months for a new game. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, people say there's no games. I see this all the time. Oh, there's no games. There's no games on this console. There's no games here. Blah, blah, blah. That's absolute garbage. There's so many games. There's games coming out your freaking eyeballs, man. Literally, back in the day, you'd save up. Games were expensive. They're expensive now, but they were back then as well. You'd get the game you wanted, you know, if you're lucky enough to be bought it, or, you know, you got it birthday or Christmas, and then you'd play that game, you like, into the ground. You'd play it non-stop. That's why demo discs were amazing back in the day as well, because for a much cheaper price, you'd get a demo disc. It'd maybe have, you know, 6 or 8 games on it. You'd play those demos back to back. The PlayStation 1 demo disc, which came with the PS1, Demo 1 it was called, I played that so freaking much. Like, literally, I need to do a nostalgia video. Maybe I'll do that for Christmas or something. I don't know. Get that, get my hands on it, play that, and literally, like, Ridge Racer Revolution, Wipeout 2097, Crash Bandicoot, Tekken 2, like, it is just ingrained in my brain. Absolutely loved it. And because of that, you actually really got into a game and enjoyed it and appreciated. A lot of these games are like pieces of art, man. Whereas nowadays, there's so think about something like Game Pass or PS Plus. There's literally hundreds of games at your fingertips. Play it for 5 minutes. You might get bored, jump into something else. You might be playing a game and enjoying it, but a new game gets announced onto the service. Ditch this game, onto the next one. A lot of people a lot of people don't complete them and go through the full journey and get the full benefit and experience. Because I remember as a kid, even if you got quite often, you would you're begging your parents for a game, you would get even just the cheapest one going, and it's usually a cheap game because it was rubbish, and you would still love it. You would just play it so much. Whereas now it's just constant. You're spoilt for choice. It's like what do they call it? When you have decision paralysis. Sometimes I go onto these services and go, what will I play? And then I just look for games, and then I go, I can't be bothered playing anything now, and then I bail out. So I do understand this. It says here, today, dopamine hits every minute. Oh, they're going a different route here. Skins, loot boxes, daily rewards, upgrades. Yeah. Imagine a gaming world where, what was the first in-game microtransaction? Was it not that horse in Elder Scrolls? Imagine that never happened and we didn't have like in-game purchases. Games. Remember when games, for example, I love fighting games. I suck at them, but I love playing them. I just find them great fun, right? I usually like playing through arcade modes and seeing the stories and all that. Just button bashing my way to the top. But back in the day, you used to have to like complete the arcade mode with, say it was like Tekken or something, with multiple different characters to unlock all the characters on the roster. Now, no. We'll sell you that as a DLC pack. Why? Just give me it in the full game. Not everything needs to be a forever game. That's, I think, another symptom of the forever game. They try and keep games which are not designed to be forever games, like fighting games, keeping them going for multiple years by releasing stage and staggered DLCs. It's like, just give us the full game when we pay for it and allow us to play it and unlock it. The post goes on, the nervous system adapts to fast pleasure and real life feels painfully slow. I do get how that could happen if you've been brought up with constant stimulation, and then maybe thinking the real world feels a bit like that. Does anyone who watched feel like that? Is there any really young people watching this that can shed some light on it? The psychologist said 90s kids became patient. Today's kids become overstimulated by the age of 10. Modern games aren't entertainment. They're engineered stimulation systems. So I get this statement. I do. However, I don't think, games are just as guilty as this. Think about it's like the TikTok generation, Instagram Reels, all this kind of stuff. It is just like brain rot. It is just designed to keep you focused and swiping and give you that little dopamine hit, and then away you go. I don't have any of them on my phone. Like this, I'm on Instagram here on a desktop. I don't have any of these social medias on my phone because I just find them such a time sink, and I never come off them feeling better. Whereas I genuinely would rather, instead of sitting on the sofa doom scrolling, I'd rather like do what I'm doing now, where if I have downtime and none of my family's about, I'll play my games. I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake right now, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'd rather do that and go on an adventure, or go and work out, or spend time with my family than doom scroll or make content for all you guys. It's like, it's just holding you back from actually doing what you want to do with your life. Seriously, just bin it. It's not worth it. And then says, this is why Gen Z has the shortest attention span ever recorded. Wow, is that true? Not because they're weaker, because their environment is stronger than their biology. Well, if everything's engineered to try and manipulate you to, expect and anticipate instant, constant gratification and, dopamine hits, it would happen to anybody being brought up in that environment. Disclaimer, this content is for educational purposes only, not clinical diagnosis. Gaming affects each child differently, and ADHD, attention issues, or emotional changes may have multiple causes. If you are concerned about your child's behaviour or mental health, consult a licensed psychologist or paediatric specialist for guidance. So yeah, I'm glad my mate sent me this because it's a really interesting one, and I really just want to get all of you watching, hear all of your opinions of this, because I don't think this is the only thing that's maybe causing some of these issues that is, are detailed in this post. I think it's just the environment in general with tech. When I grew up as well, playing games, for example, your console and stuff like that, that was just part of it. I didn't have a mobile phone that was constantly connected to the world, beaming right to your hand all the world's problems of everything wrong going on in the world. It was just a different time as well. You'd go out on your bike, play with your pals out, have an adventure, build a den somewhere. You're out for hours. Parents would just tell you to come back, when it got dark or when the streetlights came on. You'd do that. You didn't have a mobile phone to know where all your friends were constantly. You'd know where your pals were because you'd see all the bikes lying in the driveway outside someone's house. It's just a different time, man. But this stuff is interesting with the games, how it might be training your brain, different pathways to look at problems and things differently. I do get this. Like, I think some of the older school gamers are just some of the best. Like my brother, who's older than me, he's just brilliant at gaming, and he grew up playing games older than what I played. I used to look up to him, going like, man, he's so good at video games. So yeah, let me know your opinions on this. Could be a bit of a hot topic, bit controversial. Some of you may or may not agree, but it'll be really good to know because I know a lot of you out there watching have kids as well. Part of the PlayStation Portal Dad Station team. That's why we love our PlayStation Portal. So the kids can be watching something on the TV and we can be like, yes, playing Final Fantasy on my Portal. So let me know what you think about this. It's a very interesting thing. This no glowing lines, there's been a whole topic, blow up online as well about the yellow paint being in games for showing you where to go and stuff like that. Whereas back in the day in a lot of games, you didn't have anything. You just had to explore. So it will be really cool to see if any of this you agree with and any of this you don't agree with. Let's have a great, friendly, helpful discussion in the chat. This is not to, demonize any group of people. This is just something I thought was really interesting and worth flagging up because who knows, it might make you think differently about how you play games, or maybe your parent and maybe how your kids play games. So knowledge is power, people. I just wanted to bring this to you all and give you all a little bit more power.